everyone and welcome to this video. Now today I'm going to be doing a vinyl update video. Now I know it has been a little while since I last done one of these, at least 2 months now I think. But I haven't actually been buying many records. Not as much as I used to, certainly, because I've started uni and that. So I haven't got the time, or the money to really go record shopping. But it hasn't stopped me really buying a few things, which I will just be going over today in this video. So I'll just start off. We've got a little pile of CDs here. The first 4 are from a shop called That's Entertainment, which is kind of a budget HMV. I've mentioned it before, on my channel, and they do a sort of a mix and match offer thing. I think it's these ones were 2 CDs for a $5, and I got 4 CDs in total from there. So basically 4 CDs for a $10, and 3 of them I got double album CDs here. So I think I've done pretty well there. Start off with Wingspan, Paul McCartney compilation. Didn't really need this. This wasn't essential, but on the second disc, it's sort of called hits and history. So first side is Wings and solo hit singles. The other side is more sort of deep cuts, B-sides, that sort of thing. So you get some tracks which are pretty hard to find on CDs, such as Daytime Nighttime Suffering, the play out version of No More Lonely Nights, Tomorrow from Wildlife. So yeah, this is a quite a nice one, which I'm quite glad I got. Comes with a little booklet as well, which I'll just quickly flip through. You get a lot of nice photos of Paul and Wings. So yeah, this was a pretty good buy for £2.50. Wingspan. Then I also got this album, an Elvis Costello CD called Brutal Youth. Now this is one of his 90s records, and it's a bit more difficult to find on vinyl. Now I heard great things about this album, so I just thought I might as well pick it up very cheaply on CD. And I've listened to this only once, but I actually really enjoyed this album. I thought that it was a real sort of return to the Attraction sound. It isn't actually credited to Elvis Costello and the Attractions, but it does say on the back featuring Pete Thomas, Bruce Thomas, Steve Naive, and Nick Lowe, which was the classic lineup, what made the run of albums from This Year's Model right through to Imperial Bedroom, and that with Nick Lowe producing. Of course, you get a nice little fold out booklet here, and I can't really pick out specific highlights on this album, because I have only played it once and there's also 15 tracks as well, really packed in songs there. But it was a really great, really interesting album, I thought, from Elvis Costello. Next one, I've been meaning to get a U2 hits compilation for a little while now. So I was quite glad that I found this one here, which is U2 the best of 1980 through to 1990, which for me was U2's best period. Although admittedly I haven't really delved into their stuff say Beyond the Joshua Tree album, but this covers the 80s period, which really you couldn't go much wrong with them. So this is again a 2 CD collection. So you get the best stuff on one CD, but the other one has B-sides and stuff, which is really cool. I haven't really listened to the B-sides too much, but I will get down to it though. So just with most CDs, just opens up so. Quite difficult, stiff there, and you get a little booklet with lyrics in it and stuff. So yeah, this was a really great find. U2 the best of 1980 to 1990. And then another one which maybe isn't essential for me, but certainly since I got it, I have really been enjoying listening to it. It's the Complete Stone Roses here. Now this is kind of it isn't really a hits compilation. It's issued by Silvertone Records, which was their original record label. Basically just to collect stuff which wasn't on the first album. So you get stuff that predates the first album, songs So Young, Tell Me, and that that sort of thing, like kind of like early sessions and stuff. Then like it goes like on to B-sides and that, like from the first record, which are some amazing songs, like certainly like album worthy material, like Hardest Thing, In the World, Going Down, Mersey Paradise, some brilliant tracks there, but also single edits and that like off like songs like from the first album, like again like a double CD here. So yeah, really fantastic stuff here. Complete Stone Roses like isn't complete like by name, like the name like it is like a bit deceiving, like, but what you do get like is a really fantastic collection like of stuff what wasn't on like their classic debut album. And then the next two CDs I got at a slightly like later date, got them both from HMV. First one is a David Bowie CD. Been slowly getting like his albums like on CD like as and when like I felt like the need to. So like I have picked up Diamond Dogs here, which is one of like, it isn't among my absolute favourite Bowie albums, but it is a really strong like record though, like very consistent like throughout. These are the 1999 versions. I haven't actually seen the brand new remasters about much, because this was done in I think 2016, like this was like reissued like as part of like the Who Can I Be Now box set. I haven't actually seen that those like CDs about, but these ones like sound like pretty good like to my ears like personally. So yeah, like that's David Bowie, Diamond Dogs. And then a band who I've been getting into quite a bit lately is Talking Heads here. Like I picked up like this CD here, which is like their best stuff compilation, and like I've been like really like loving this. Like again, like it just covers like the whole career, which was really like only I think like they were only together like for like about like 10 years, like 1977 through to like 88, like 89 sort of time. So yeah, like you get some amazing tracks like on here. Artwork just like opens up like this, you get pictures like off the band. So yeah, like this is like really good. Like I knew like off like the Talking Heads, like already had a couple of their albums, had like Stop Making Sense, like the live album, and the album Little Creatures, both of which like I got like from like my uncle when I got like his Smiths records. But like this is like the first time like I really like listened to like and like appreciated like their like music. So yeah, like I've been enjoying this one. There'll be more Talking Heads coming up a little bit later on. But now onto the vinyl records, these 5 used ones here, like the ones I got like when I had an afternoon off uni. So I just thought like I might as well like go into Edinburgh, like do a little bit like of like record shopping I hadn't done like in like a little while. So like so like yeah, like it's not like my best haul like ever, but like I still got like a few like good things. Start off with this, which is a Genesis album, and then there were 3. Now I'm not the biggest fan like of Genesis, but like I do really like their album Duke, which was around the same sort of time as this, like sort of like early like Phil Collins era. So like I thought that I would pick this one up. I haven't played this one yet, so like I can't like really comment on it too much, although I do know it has the hit single Follow You, Follow Me on it, which is a very good song. So yeah, here it is on the Charisma Records label. And then this is a album which I've seen like around like a few times, but like it's always like one like which like I've like always like passed up like in favour like of like this artist's like studio albums. It's this thing called Out of Our Idiot by Elvis Costello. Like it says like rare and unreleased cuts like from like Elvis Costello, but I think like it's sort of like it is like sort of like Costello like with like other artists and like that, like sort of like collaborations and stuff like, and like stuff like what he's done like over the years. So yeah, like as I said, like I've seen this like around a few times, like I've always like passed it up like in favour like of like his like actual like studio records. But like since like I am kind of like complete like on like the common ones like which like you see, like I just thought that like I would pick this one up. Again, I haven't played it, so I can't comment like on like the music too much, but you do get like a ton of tracks like on this. So yeah, like I'm looking forward to giving this a spin. And now an album which I've been meaning to pick up like for like a little while. Like it's one which like I see like quite a bit. Like it's a very common record, and like it is like a bit like off like a classic like album. It is the Pretenders debut album from 1980. So like. From 1980, so like I'm like a big fan like of like sort of like new wave, like sort of like post-punk, like that kind of like music and that. So like I just thought that I would get this album, and like actually like really like enjoyed it. Like sort of like fans of like Blondie say, like it's like really sort of like similar like to their sort of stuff. You get some brilliant tracks, bodies such as Kid, Brass in Pocket, which is a a fantastic song. Like if like you don't know it like by title and that, like you certainly like know the song like when like you hear it, and like also like a fantastic cover of the Kinks and Stop Your Sobbing, like notably like Chrissie Hynde, like I think would like later marry like Ray Davies, but like their relationship I don't think was all that successful like after that. You get a nice like inner sleeve here though with pictures like off like the band on it, and the record is on the Sire Records label. So yeah, I'm very glad to pick this one up. Like again, like very cheap, but like a really like fantastic album. And speaking of Blondie, I got this record here, which is Auto American. Now yeah, like I am a big fan like of like Blondie's like earlier material, like right from like the debut album, which I think like is like really like underrated. Like Plastic Letters through to like Parallel Lines, which is like I needed to say like more about that album, and like Eat to the Beat, which is a like very good like follow-up. This one though, I had a bit of a difficult time with. I didn't really enjoy this album all that much. It seems like they're trying too hard like to be different and like to be a bit proggy like in places like on here, but like also just like a bit dull like as well. Like I didn't really like think much of this. Like even like the singles like on here, like there's two like #1 singles, and Rapture and The Tide Is High, which I mean like I've never like really like rated like those songs too much like in like Blondie's like catalogue. But it does have a fantastic cover though, like probably like my favourite Blondie album cover, like I would say maybe. Like I only like realised that when I bought it that it was actually like a painting. Like I always thought that it was like a photograph here, but it's a really lovely like high quality painting, which is really cool. The inner sleeve is pretty plain design, and we are just on the usual Chrysalis Records label for this release here. So yeah, Blondie Auto American. And then last used find is this one here, which is Talking Heads album called True Stories here. Now this record shop, we had a few Talking Heads albums. Like I was really going for like their debut like record, like Talking Heads 77. Like however, like they didn't have it. They had a few more like off like the other like earlier ones like Fear of Music, and like a couple like of like other ones as well. Reason why like I got this one though was because it was a little bit cheaper than those like earlier records, and like also like I'd seen like the cover like about before, like I'd like before like I was like sort of like familiar like with like this album like artwork and that, like so like I thought like it must be like a pretty good like solid record, and like it was, but it wasn't quite as good like as like I was like maybe like expecting it to be. This is one of like their later albums as well from 1986, this one here. And like although like you do get like a really fantastic single, Wild Life, the other material just really didn't like stand up stand out like as much to me. We are on, what label is this one? This is on sort of custom like EMI Talking Heads label there. So yeah, that is the album True Stories. Okay, so I'm talking about like their debut album. I like bought this one on Amazon, would have been about 2 days ago, that came yesterday. It is Talking Heads 77, which this is of course like a reissue here, but like I just thought like I have to have this record. Like I heard it like on like YouTube, and like it just really like blew me away. Like I had to get it like on vinyl here. So yeah, like you get some fantastic tracks here, like Love Comes to Town, Who Is It, The Book I Read, Don't Worry About the Government, Psycho Killer, and probably my favourite like is like the closing track, Pulled Up. Fantastic song there. Unfortunately, this doesn't come with a download code. Like I would have like maybe liked that. Like however, like you do get a sort of nice like custom like inner sleeve, although it isn't really like an inner sleeve. It's sort of like a pointless sort of fold out thing, like with like lyrics like on the back. And again, we're on Sire Records for this release here, and like again like lovely like 180 gram like vinyl like reissue of this classic 1977 album. It has a really sort of timeless quality to it, I think. Like it doesn't sound like a 70s album really. Like I mean like it just sounds like yeah, timeless basically. So yeah, that is Talking Heads 77. Okay, so next one I got at the same time like has like the Talking Heads like 77 one, like bought them like on like Amazon together. Like both were like pretty cheap, like so like I just thought like why not. This one is a sort of like similar like album, like it was like released at the same year, like from like the same like New York like new wave scene. It's this album by Television called Marquee Moon, like their first record here. And like I listened to this one like on like YouTube, probably just because like I'd heard like good things like about this record, and like I was really like blown away like enough like to make me want to buy the vinyl record off it here, which again like gives like a reissue. Like you don't see these sort of albums like about like too much like in like the wild, because they are kind of like cult like albums, and that like originals like all like a bit tricky to get. Nice like inner sleeve with like lyrics on it, picture like of like the band there, and the record label looks like this. So like I don't really know too much like about like this band. Like the only little fact like I know about them is that the lead singer, a guy called Tom Verlaine, wrote a song called Kingdom Come, which is on David Bowie's Scary Monsters album, which is one of like my favourite songs like from like that album. So like that was like maybe like one of like the reasons why like I was eager to hear like this record here, like by Television, Marquee Moon, like again like another sort of timeless like hugely influential album here. And then the last reissue before we get onto a couple of brand new albums is from the Style Council, which is Modernism, A New Decade here. This is like the brand new like reissue of it. The whole Style Council catalogue like has been reissued. Like I've only got Our Favourite Shop because I wanted like an upgrade copy of that. But this one like I just had to get because the originals of this are so difficult to find. Like it was very much like it was like this album like has like a sort of like a difficult and like complicated like history, because it was originally like the record label like didn't want to like release it, and like it was only released like 10 years later, like in like a very limited like vinyl like run like of albums here. But like finally like being reissued here, like nice picture like of like Well Up and Talbot there. This is on a double album here, but it's on a nice sort of greeny yellow vinyl here, which is quite interesting. Yeah, like all like these Style Council reissues like have been coloured vinyl. As for the music though, I can kind of see why the record label rejected this album, because there's very little like of like Paul Weller like on here. Like it's a lot of beats, a lot of like other singers and that like on here, like a lot of like instrumental stuff like as well. So yeah, it wasn't really like my thing like musically, but it is a significant album like in like Weller's like catalogue, because I don't think like without this like you wouldn't have had like his first like solo record, which was kind of like I would say I would say like it was mildly like inspired by like the same sort of stuff. Like he carried over like some sort of things like onto songs like Here's a New Thing and like oh yeah, like this kind of sort of dancey like acid house sort of thing, like what like he was doing like on like this album here. So yeah, like quite glad to get it. Like certainly like fills like a hole like in like the Style Council collection. Okay, so now we go on to the two brand new albums like from this year, which I'm going to show here. Like both like released like within like the last like 2 weeks, I think. So yeah, like so far like 2017 like has actually been like quite good like for like new releases. Like my end of year like roundup, like what I'll do will actually be quite good like for a change like this year here, because we've got Liam Gallagher's first record here, which came out I think 2 weeks ago now, and like I've been like really like enjoying this album. I have just reviewed it like as well, so like please like do like go and like check that out. I mean it's certainly like it isn't a brilliant album, but it is good. Like it's certainly like exceeded my like expectations. The first side especially like is like really great like run of songs there. Second side I guess a little bit dull like personally, but you do get the inner sleeve here plus a download code, which I always like when like they chuck that in like with like new albums. So yeah, like it's in there somewhere. You get the inner sleeve here with lyrics on it and a picture, and then the record label itself looks like this. So yeah, I have been enjoying this this album, but if I'm being honest, I I am kind of more like looking forward to Noel's new album called Who Built the Moon. I've been absolutely loving like his new single called Holy Mountain. Absolutely fantastic song. Like, I know it has been split in like opinion. A lot of people saying like it's too sort of dancey, too like pop sort of thing, but I like absolutely like love it. Like, I think like it's a absolutely fantastic tune. So yeah, like very much like looking forward like to Noel Gallagher's like new album. But this one here was also like pretty good like as well. Okay, so now the final one which came out yesterday is the new album from Squeeze here called The Knowledge here. Now I have only got the CD to show, like the vinyl I think has been delayed like until November. But this is like quite a nice like little sort of like digipack packaging here. CD's pretty plain design to it. I haven't listened to this yet, so like I can't really comment like on like the music, but like I know like the two singles from it, like Innocence in Paradise, which I've like really like that song actually, and like also Patchouli, which is also like really good, like kind of folky vibe to that one. So you get lyrics in here. And now I got this from the official Squeeze website, because you're also like along with this, like and like the vinyl, like what will come like in November, they chuck in this, which is a free signed set list like from like their tour what they're doing, which is really cool. So there's like Glenn Tilbrook's signature there, which is fantastic. Like the other band members, I think that the blue squiggle's probably like Chris Difford's one there. Like to be fair, but yeah, like this is like really cool here. Like we'll be seeing Squeeze in November, so yeah, like very like excited for that. And like it's great that like they chuck this in like with like the album that when like you order it like from the website. So yeah, that is me done for this video today. I hope you have enjoyed, and I will see you all next time for the next video. Goodbye.
The one we shared.